How? Okay. We here. It was a
We are here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we here. We in the building. It was few
minor
hiccups.
technical difficulties, but we're here. Sorry for the tardiness. But we are here, live and direct.
Okay, I'm gonna make sure that I do what we usually do, make sure that we're live, making sure that we're live all over the place in the group, me and Newdy's personal Facebook page, and I'm also gonna pin this conversation to the top of our group. Let me make sure that we are live inside of the group.
Yep, group is live.
Yep, we are live in the group.
You can hear us loud and clear. Give us a couple likes so we know that you guys are there, that you can hear us.
Okay, perfect. Newdy!
Young Mally, what up, though?
What's up, dog? Talk to me, man.
Hey, man, it's a beautiful day, man. We got our guy Mac, and
listen. I was saying before, so that other people could know. While we was in the studio before the broadcast, I was like, yo, Mac, man, you a handsome young man, bro. You're a handsome young man.
Oh, man, I don't know about all that. I got this bird's nest on top of my head that I've been trying to tame for about, this whole 6 months, but appreciate it nonetheless.
Absolutely. So, man, a lot has happened this week, gentlemen.
So wait, let's introduce Mac, man. Give him a drum roll, man. Go ahead and
look. No, so first and foremost, like before we even talk about what Mac does or who Mac is, right? Let's just talk about how I just be seeing Mac everywhere, bro. So me and Newdy, we in the mix. We in the mix 100% when it comes to entrepreneurship here in Delaware.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I see Mac here, I see Mac there, and every single time is nothing but love. It's always positive stuff all the time. Every time I run into Mac. So I want to say, dag, Mac, what was this by like maybe 3 weeks ago we talked about this?
Yeah, I would say about 3 weeks ago. I forget what initially sparked up the conversation, but then we were like, let's make it happen, and here we are.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, yo, Mac, listen, man, we got to bring you on our platform, have this conversation because you out here doing some amazing things.
Amazing.
You've been doing this for quite some time.
I have
since 2012, right?
2012, yes, like 2012, like barely out of the bird's nest, and here we are 8 years later. It's hard to believe. It really is. It's hard to believe. It doesn't feel like 8 years still.
And look, Newdy, he got an extensive.
I see you got the library, man. I need to see what books you reading, man. I'm an avid. I love all types of books, man. Look like you got a whole library back there, man.
Oh yeah, that's my pride and joy. I started reading heavily at age like 22, and now it's just like that's what I do over the weekends. Like that's what I do after work. We have book clubs inside the company. Tell me what genres you like, and I got you covered. I'm dabbling more into fiction now too.
Really, I haven't done too much in fiction, man. I love a lot of psychology books. A lot of marketing books. Just like things that are very interesting and people might recommend. I read all types of books. People recommend me books all the time, and I just like, you know what? Let me check that out. So it's a variety.
I'll tell you, Newdy, I'm shocked by how much people sleep on books. I mean, it's crystallized knowledge from some of the most renowned sources that you could ever have in the world, and the fact that it's just there for you to pick up and put a little bit of effort into reading. It blows my mind how so many people just. I think we're in a different day and age where you want that 15-second, visual blast into your brain. But I mean, you can only digest so much content that way before you need to go a little deeper. And I don't see substitutes for books, but that's me speaking personally.
I agree.
100%.
No substitute for books whatsoever. And then it's so crazy, Mac. We're living in this whole 2020 year, right? And especially with the quarantine, we find ourselves looking more and more at video content. But for me personally, because we do what we do, we look up at so much video content. Like honestly, looking at books is literally a break for the eyes. Like, yo, I look at so many goddamn screens. I'm like, yo, I can't take the screens no more. So it's like literally, as you said, books are, and we're going to get a little bit more into books later on because Newdy has a segment where he talks about a specific book. So we're going to get into it. Now that we know that you're an avid reader, which makes sense because you're Mac. So it makes sense. So we'll definitely get into that. So Mac, man, tell the people where you from, man. How'd you grow up, man? Tell the people, talk to them.
Well, first of all, pleasure to be here, Malcolm and Newdy. Thanks for inviting me on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, real pleasure. And I love what you guys are doing. So maybe that's a separate conversation, as I'm sure your base knows you two very well and Influencer Labs, but would love to dive into that more at a later time. But I'm from Delaware. Since 2 years old, grew up in Newark, Delaware. Skateboarded all throughout, my early years, even skateboarded this weekend. So that was my thing. I love skateboarding. And then went to University of Delaware for college, and then started Carvertise. And then here we are, man. That's the 15-second Spark Notes version. And I can dive in wherever you want me to. Wherever you want me to.
What did you go to University of Delaware for, Matt?
I went to UD and studied marketing, and then go figure. But then actually towards the back half, because I started Carvertise as a junior at University of Delaware, it got to a point where I just needed to graduate and find the path of least resistance, and that ended up being a finance major. So I ended up learning a little bit about stocks and bonds and CAPM models, and made my way over the finish line, and then went straight to putting ads on cars. And here we are, 8 years later.
Nice.
Interesting. So you started Carvertise while you were still in college, which is interesting. A lot of people really don't, either they start before like an education or after their education, right? What put you in that mindset where it's like, yo, damn, I'm about to start this this company while I'm dead smack in the middle of college? Was it like a project or just something you thought about?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I was taking this class at the time called Economics of Entrepreneurship. And one of the things that I really loved and appreciated about this class is the professor, James O'Neill. He always, it was a 3-hour class once a week on a Wednesday. And he would always save the back session for bringing in like, an entrepreneur, somebody who is running a business or building a startup into the class to give us just exposure to like, beyond this world of academia, like what are people actually doing out there? And I remember just being so entranced when a young guy came in. He was like 23 or 24. His name is Nikhil Paul. We're great friends to this day. And he was building a software company called InfoShare. And essentially what it was is it was online, essentially like a communications hub for engineering majors, because the dropout rate, like his MVP was a minimal viable product, was the dropout rate for engineering majors at UD was so high. And he, like his hypothesis, his business hypothesis essentially was that it's because of communication. So if we
UD's known for engineering, though. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's known for, but apparently, I mean, this is just the premise of his business. Right. Apparently, the dropout rate of engineer students is very high. So he started a company called InfoShare, and I just remember being like, oh shit, okay, so you don't have to be old to start a business. I'm like, here's this guy, like just a few years older than me, who started a company, like. Okay, so you don't have to be old. You don't have to have prior job experience to start a business. So I think that kind of primed me well to like be like, okay, like other people are doing this, and it's not just in Inc. magazine and Forbes. Like I'm seeing people with my eyes, right? And it's an intimate 1-to-1 in the class. So I was a busboy at the time at the Stone Balloon Wine House on Main Street, you know, just paying the bills at college. And like every time I would be setting the tables outside when I was working at the wine houses, I would always see the Red Bull car drive past me. And at the time, I was a marketing major. And I remember thinking to myself, like, dude, that's such a catchy form of branding marketing. How come more marketers and brands aren't capitalizing on this? Because clearly that's been a staple of Red Bull's marketing arsenal and it's worked wonders. How come more brands aren't doing it? How come more brands aren't marketing on cars? And like, well, historically, companies only market on cars if it's their own fleet of vehicles, right? If it's a HVAC company, a home services company, a logistics company. You see Amazon Prime all the time with wrap vehicles.
Oscar Mayer, that's the only thing that pops up in my mind.
Yeah. Oscar Mayer, Red Bull. But it goes to show you that, like, you remember that which you don't see a lot, right? Like, we don't see those Oscar Mayer mobiles all the time. Like, how many billboards did you remember, you know, driving down I-95? We pay attention to things that are unusual, to things that we're not accustomed to seeing.
Right.
So I got ahead. This idea stuck in my head, essentially, Malcolm, and I just couldn't get it out of, like, why aren't brands advertising on everyday people's cars just as if it was a billboard? Because there was a massive missed opportunity in the marketplace where the billboard market was an $8 billion industry, still is, it's growing. And they have to pay $500,000 to build, to, you know, put a big stick in the ground and a rectangle on top of it. And here there's all these moving billboards. There's 300 million of them driving around, and it costs you nothing to build. You just have to rent it whenever you have a client. So it was very new age, right? It was very like, you know, Carvertise is in large part, Malcolm Newdy, like a function of the times that we're in. This like sharing economy, like Uber, right? The largest taxi company, and they don't own any cars. Airbnb, the largest hotel company, they don't own any hotels or rooms. And you know, Carvertise kind of falls in that same genre of, hey, we're an outdoor advertising company and we own no assets, but we have an inventory over 400,000 like our assets is data. Right. We have 300 drivers signing up a day wanting to get paid to put a brand on their car. Like our asset is the data that we're collecting. So in any case, yeah, that was a very prolonged answer to your question of just where this all started from. But it started at University of Delaware, and you know, there's a story around how it started and all that stuff, which I could dive into if you want me to. But
please, I'm quite
absolutely.
Sure.
I'm interested because what you just said, and like, you know, me and Newdy, we are real big fans, and like I said, we'll get into books later. But you know, Purple Cows, right? Like you talk about the Red Bull truck or the Oscar Mayer truck, or you know, I just remember those are two cars that vividly stick out in my brain because the Red Bull truck actually had a Red Bull on top of the car, and then like I said, the Oscar Mayer car was like
awesome,
a hot dog driving around, like you know what I mean. So you know, just to have that mindset where it's just like, yo, Uber owns no cars, but they're a huge rideshare company. Airbnb, they own no hotels, but they're the biggest of their kind, right? It's just like putting all
we're in a different day and age. We're just in a different day and age. Like, you don't have to own the assets anymore. Like, people are fine with sharing it. You know, as many businesses have proven, even ourselves, right? Like we've been in the game for 8 years, you know, profitable and making money. Like, that's enough to show that drivers are willing to do this.
That's Matt. Kudos to you and what you're doing, because that's like, yo, I mean, you know, like I said, me and Newdy, we always in the mix, and we always see these cars wrapped.
That's great. Yeah. We
always see these cars wrapped. So to actually talk about that, right? When you're talking about the share economy, right? What about the share economy is so important for the times that we live in right now, and how did that model really make you successful, bro?
Well, it's the age of the side hustle. Like if you look at TaskRabbit, if you look at Instacart, if you look at Grubhub, like the economy is not your father's economy anymore, where everybody's working 8 to 5 and you work at the same company for 30 years and you retire. Like the world, the workforce is changing as technology changes and as the world changes. So like we're just in a day and age where people are monetizing everything that they can as a form of resourcefulness. It's easier to be a side hustler now. And, you know, it's a huge part of our workforce. In fact, like there's now insurance companies popping up left and right, like trying to insure these gig economy workers because like Nationwide and State Farm, they don't know how to react to this type of player. So it's just the day and age that we're in, man. It's pretty cool. It's pretty, because everything is connected. I mean, here I am streaming from my iPhone, and like God knows that was not a possibility just 10 years ago. So like the rate of change that's happening technologically is enabling this stuff.
Crazy.
Go ahead, so real quick, I know, like, you know, as entrepreneurs, like, you know, we always find a need in the marketplace and we see a void and we fill it. At what point did you get that aha moment where it's just like, you know, I can really take what people are doing, traditional advertising, you know, like the traditional thing, the ways of how, you know, they advertise, I guess, you know, old school, so to speak. At what moment did you get that aha moment and say, hey, you know what, I can really, you know, shift the narrative and start doing advertising on cars? Like, when did you get that aha moment? What was that point?
Yeah, well, at first it just started out as a good idea, right? Like, man, why aren't brands advertising on cars? It's another messaging platform, but we didn't really have that like product market fit until about 2 years ago. So think about that for a second. We just finessed our way through 6 years until we really found a good product market fit, and I'll tell you about that in just a second. So the way the business started is past the sowing of the idea in the ground. Like, fell in love with the idea, and I printed out 1,000 flyers at Morse Library, University of Delaware, threw up a landing page, and started passing out flyers in shopping centers around the University of Delaware, getting drivers to sign up. Lo and behold, drivers started signing up. And then what I did, Newdy, is I started going to local chambers of commerces, like the Newcastle County Chamber of Commerce, Delaware State Chamber of Commerce. I mean, I think I have like a picture somewhere on my phone. It felt so cool, like going to this like function where adults were, like, I remember asking if I could take a picture with somebody just because I felt like an adult, like being at these business networking events. And I was telling everybody about my business, right? Like advertising on cars. Hey, I see you got that billboard up. Hey, I hear you on the radio. I can put your message on cars. Just tell me where you want your message seen, and I'll find a driver who drives in that area, and we'll wrap their car. And at first, everybody thought it was like a joke. Everybody thought it was cute. Like, you know, look at this kid, you know, showing up, barely knows north from south. Like, but the funny part is I just kept on showing up. Like I went to the next event, and then the next event, and then the next event, and then the next. Like I was committed. I was 110% in. And finally, a lady named Orly, who runs a small diamond company called Orly Diamonds, she said, you know what, that actually sounds like pretty cool. Why don't you come to my shop and we can talk about it? And man, that was probably, to this day, the most nervous I've ever been, is like thinking about pitching a business owner, you know, when I was still in college. And I didn't even know what an invoice was. Like, I remember her saying, can you send me an invoice? I didn't know what an invoice was. I didn't even Dude, I didn't know anything besides the idea. I literally, like, we were free. Like, I remember trying to figure out the unit economics of what to sell this car wrap for, so we didn't lose money. And go figure, to get our first deal, Orly Diamonds, I had to end up paying her $700. I had to pay her money to use our service. You know, one of the funniest and worst deals I think we've ever done. But so Newdy, this is bringing it way far back. We started working with a diamond shop here in Delaware called Orly Diamonds. We started working with a self-storage facility in Bear called Raybold Self-Storage. What really gave us...
That's right down the street from me.
Oh, is it? Yeah, they were our second client. We got them by cold calling through my background before food running was telemarketing. So
wait. You was cold calling, bro?
Oh yeah, cold calling. Ooh. Like, we had the whole list at the Newcastle County Chamber of Commerce in their membership. They just had like the person from that company. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have the numbers of all the members, whoever the marketing person is at the chamber. So Greg, my business partner, and I, and he came into the equation like 6 months after I found it. We just started going down the list. Like, all right, you tackle these 100 businesses, I tackle this 100 businesses. We had a little script that I crafted, and he was able to get somebody on the line at Raybold Self Storage, and he freaking goes down this entire script without even taking a breath. I thought he was about to faint. I remember looking at him when he was talking, like, oh shit, you got somebody on the line? Congratulations. And at the end of it, he gets down his script, like who we are, what we're doing, why you should take a meeting with us. And he's like, so are you interested? Like, I mean, who says that? And she was like, yeah, I am. Why don't you come in? We're like, whoa, like what the hell? Oh, somebody's actually interested. So long story short, we ended up working with Raybold Self Storage, but really the anchor, Newdy, was when we started working with ShopRite.
Wow. Okay.
And we got that account just through networking through Delaware.
Shout out to Chris Kenny, our guy.
Yep. So Chris, I think, made my business partner Greg Stark cry that day when he's a ruthless negotiator. Chris is a ruthless negotiator, and we're great friends to this day. So we look back at it and laugh. But he's a tough negotiator. So bottom line, Newdy, is we really built a base of customers here in Delaware and Philadelphia, really off the strength of relationships and just having kind of a cool idea, like having a neat idea. Nobody's spending money as charity here. So like, you're providing value of brand awareness and eyeballs, and like, you have to bring something to the table. But we weren't really checking a box outside of a very tight product market fit until about 2 years ago, where our product, we noticed certain industries really pulling our product in a specific direction based upon their need. So for instance, we work with a lot of pharmaceutical companies, trade show companies, helping them with conferences where we will wrap the cars of Uber and Lyft drivers, and we will incentivize them to work at specific conferences where our pharmaceutical clients like are having an event. Obviously, that hasn't been coming into the fold during coronavirus, but that was a huge growing line of business. With community colleges, we use the students to be the drivers of the cars because it recycles advertising dollars back to the students. In healthcare, it's more of like a feel-good, well-rounded, community-oriented type of advertising spend. So they get the brand awareness that they would on billboards, except they're getting community partners, these drivers, to be the advertisers. Legal firms have started popping off because they are so damn competitive. They're trying to find an angle to increase their market share and their brand awareness over their competitors. So when we come into the fold saying, hey, you can put your ad on 50 Uber cars, you can put your brand on 100 Lyft cars in Chicago or San Diego, they jump on that thing like it's a trampoline. So it hasn't really been until the past 2 years, where we've seen really good growth coming out of specific verticals. And now we're catering our image, our marketing material, our copy, all that stuff to speak directly to the industry and that industry's needs. So it took a while for us, man, to be honest with you. We were just kind of freestyling through, just working with people who would work with us. But now it's like we know our place in the out-of-home ecosystem, and, you know, we're going to plow through it.
Go ahead, Matt. Okay, so I wanted to make sure that you said a lot, right? You said a lot. And I want to make sure that as people are listening to what we're giving, we want to give as much value as possible to our listeners, right?
Yeah,
there
please.
were a few nuggets within the things that you said that are some base foundations for entrepreneurs. You said you showed up every single time that it was another meeting, or you went to another Delaware State Chamber of Commerce meeting. Consistency is so big within your platform and within a lot of the stuff that me and Newdy do. Consistency is a huge thing. On top of the fact that you're just consistent like that. I just want people to understand, like, when you're an entrepreneur, you're getting your side hustle, you're becoming a part of the gig economy, how important consistency and literally just showing up every single time, all the time, is so important to being an entrepreneur. I think with Newdy and Newdy, you let me know if you agree or disagree, because we literally show up every single day, every single moment. You see us everywhere. That has gotten us from here to here to here on a consistent basis. Talk
100%.
Real quick.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, and then Newdy, I know you had something. What you gonna say, bro?
No. So I wanted to piggyback off of that. Like that was a key point that you said, because a lot of times as entrepreneurs, you know, like, it might be, you know, we always say that persistence beats resistance. It might be, you might be working, you know, consistently, but it might be that 5th or 6th year that it really pops. And a lot of times people don't give it enough, you know, time in actually being consistent. I think that's really important. And another thing that you said is kind of like, you build the plane as you was flying it, right? Like, some of the things, you know, sometimes people wait for that perfect moment. Like, I need this amount of money. I need, you know, these employees. Like, you just, you know, took it upon yourself because you believed in the vision, and you just did it. Like, you didn't even know what an invoice was. Like, you didn't even know how an invoice. So, like, those things are key. I think those are very important. So we want to kind of reiterate that to our listeners. So if you have a business, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're thinking about doing it, like, just do it. Like Nike said, just do it.
Just do it like Nike.
Let me right real quick. I wanted to also let people know within what you said was how you were able to connect the dots with the data. Right now that you are super hyper targeted now within your last 2 years because of your understanding and extrapolation of the data within your separate verticals, right? What made you really get to that point where it's like, yo, I got all this damn data in my mind. Now I can hit the market with that data, because data right now is gold. And I don't really know if people understand how important data is for your business, bro. I don't think people get it.
Yeah, well, the one thing I'd like to make a comment on, Newdy, is I think one of the largest problems in entrepreneurship is the glamorization of being a startup, is the glamorization of what it takes to be successful as an owner or growing a business. Right. You know, everybody sees the cover stories of Facebook and Amazon and Google and XYZ. But what people don't realize are those stories are few and far between, and that for 99% of the rest of entrepreneurs, it is a long, grueling hike to get to where you're going, full of pitfalls, full of left turns, full of falling on your face. And like, in order to survive, like, you have to be of a certain character where you're resilient and like you have faith in your vision that you can overcome that. And I think a lot of, from what I've seen, a lot of entrepreneurs, you know, they'll jump out of it early because they run into a couple hurdles, a couple speed bumps, and they'll look at them as mountains instead of speed bumps. And and dude, 100%, half of it is just showing up. Like if you're just showing up and being consistent and being smart too, learning from your mistakes over time, that's going to lead you in the right direction.
No, that's yeah. I think that's very important. I think that with what you have done, you and your company, like I said, we're out. Like we sometimes count the cars. Like we might, you know, me and Malcolm say, I'm like, yo, like, you know, let's see how many cars that actually come out. Like I'm really big on, you know, just being able to be. You got to be creative. Like there's so much noise in the marketplace. Like how do you stand out, right? Like everyone is going to social media, and you know, that's kind of like the it thing, and it kind of I don't want to say well, in my opinion, it kind of makes people lazy to a certain extent because the real work is the networking and building relationships. Not to minimize social media, but I think you said some important things in terms of like the cold calling. Like we still cold call, right? Like the person-to-person relationship, to actually hear someone on the phone or see someone face-to-face. I think that art has been lost because of social media, has been glorified. And the other things I feel like people don't do as much. And I think those are really important things to do.
100%. Yeah. It just comes down to you got to roll up your sleeves and you got to get to it. And like heart, like it's hard to teach heart. You know what I mean? Like you guys have it for sure. Given the success of your media company, Influencer Labs. But I think like, dude, it's hard to teach, but it's ultimately what keeps you in the game in the long run.
Do you think that that's something that's like that heart, that grit, right? That thing on the inside. Do you think that's a teachable thing, or is that something that just comes naturally? I don't think that I got that thing until like I went through certain things, and this was after I got out of college, right? After I got out of college and I started working in my industry for a little bit of time, I didn't get that itch until certain things happened to me, like in life, and it was just like, oh, then it popped in, because I think that innately it was just always inside of you. Do you think it can be taught, or is it just something that you have inside of you?
Man, yeah, that's a deep one. That's pretty philosophical. I would like to believe Malcolm, that you know, if you put your mind to it and you practice it and you put in the reps, it can be taught. I think people are naturally predispositioned with, they might be a little bit better at it than others, but my hope in, you know, just kind of the human spirit is if you practice it and you put your mind to it, you can do it. That being said, I think it's a lot easier for some people than others, but I'll let, what do you guys think? Newdy, what do you think?
I think that, you know, like some things you really can't teach, right? It's you know, some things that you can probably get better at. But, you know, in my opinion, I always, you know, like I have certain strengths that I have where if I'm weak at something, you know, like I'd rather strengthen my strengths, because some want to wear a bunch of different hats. Where I'm strong, I'd rather be as strong as possible there. And if I don't have a natural ability at something, you know, that's what collaborations are for. That's what, you know, where I'm, you know, strong at, Malcolm might be a little bit weak, or vice versa. So yeah, I don't think some things can't be taught, man. Like you can't teach fearlessness. Like, you know, there's certain things that you just can't teach. It's either in you or it's not. But whatever you have that you do good at, focus on that. And that's always been, you know, how we've gotten to where we've gotten to. We just focus on our strengths.
Yeah. I agree completely. Like I don't think, like as you said, I think that you can, you know, if you put in the reps, you can get to a certain point. But like I said, it was something, me personally, it was something in me that clicked at a certain point after the industry, and it was just like, oh, okay, oh, I'm doing this, right? You know what I mean? I put on my big boy pants. I'm like, oh, I'm doing this, right? Because something clicked inside of me. But just like to Newdy's point, and I think it's a real good point that entrepreneurs need to know, Mac, I'm sure that you have people around you that it's like, hey, I'm Mac, and I'm good at this and this and that. But then you got them other people that's like, yo, I'm not good at that shit. So I need you to do that for me. Because that's just how, that's how as entrepreneurs, that's how your thought process starts to go. And you know, see, me and Newdy, we work so well because like the things that he is really good at, I'm like, y'all, Newdy, I'm not doing that shit.
Man, listen, orders, I could be good at it. But the other thing, I could be good at it, but I don't fucking like doing it.
Yeah,
I hate doing it.
So how do you guys divide and conquer? Newdy, you have to be the biz dev guy.
Yeah. You hit the nail on the head, man. Like, you know, I like, you know, we kind of bounce our energy off of each other, but like, I like I love, you know, meeting new people. I love being in rooms with new people. I just love just bringing people together. I'm a people's person, right? So I love the, you know, kind of like Tetris. I love to put the pieces together. I'm like, yo, that'd be, if you did this and put that there, this could kind of look like this. And I started out, you know, doing just that. And with Malcolm, he's I'm not a technical guy in terms of technology. Like Malcolm he's great at it. So a lot of things, like I might be dumb, like, yo, I might not get, like, we might start, like we started this new, right? This StreamYard. And I couldn't get on this shit. Right, I had just got a Mac, right, and I had to download Firefox to even get on. So Malcolm, I'm like, yo, bro, like he always makes fun. I'm like, yo, dog, like I know how to do this, bro. Like don't play me, man. I know what I'm doing. I can't get on StreamYard because I had to download Firefox and give me 5 minutes. Just like little stuff like that you know, his strengths, my weaknesses, like it kind of.
That's great. That's phenomenal. You need that yin yang, man. Like you need a team that can counter your weaknesses. Like totally.
It's interesting because like Newdy, I know like I'm okay at negotiating, right? But when it like me, my thing is like, oh, that's a door. Oh, we gonna kick that door down. We gonna get inside that door, right? Newdy, listen, Mac. Newdy will be literally right behind me on my heels, pushing me like, "Yo, Malcolm, go kick that door, bro."
Yeah.
Because Malcolm don't give a damn. It's like, and sometimes I'm like, "Yo, man, like, damn, should I just stop Malcolm, man? Because he might say some shit that, like, he does it. He just does it, and sometimes like we have our other partners, they just be like he has to, my man, he has to be like, "Yo, man, yo, Malcolm just." Yo, he don't know what to say out of his mouth. I'm like, yo, bro, every time he say that shit, like, you know that door open because of what he's like. He's just he's naturally, like, he has that likable personality. So it's kind of like, you know, it works.
Yeah, it works. It works. And like that negotiation piece, Newdy comes in, Newdy can seal a deal. That's not my strength.
The closer. Yeah, I like that. The closer.
Yeah,
Malcolm gets to the door. He gets through the door. I seal it. So you know that's
Newdy seals the deal. So that's just with us. You know what I mean? That's really helped us to get to a decent spot. And I wanted to say something about what Newdy had said earlier about counting them cars. I remember coming through Northside in Wilmington, and I literally seen Mac. I literally seen certain cars with certain messages going up and down certain streets, bro.
Yeah.
So
there you
I
go.
was like, yo, this car. And before we knew you personally, right? We used to come over to the Hercules building. What's the Hercules? 1313.
1313.
Yeah. Come over to 1313 all the time.
Yeah.
And we was like, yo, what's this car? And you know, your name in Carvertise was just out there, Carvertise. Yeah. And we was like, yo, what is this Carvertise? And then we started seeing you. We started seeing you. So yeah, bro. So
that's
the
hilarious.
The data that you've acquired over the past 6 years, how has that helped you really like hone into certain clients? How's that helped you to scale up? Like, talk about how that data and understanding that really has taken you to a different place, bro.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what's happened over the course of time is we've just become really well optimized through the internet organically, where if you type in like anything like how to make extra cash on the side or how to earn more discretionary income or other ways I could make money off my car, dude, we were popping up in all these finance blogs. Wow. So and it wasn't even earns media. It was just like they found us and they wrote about us, and like we're finding out about it like 12 months later. But we just get all this residual traffic, And yeah, we get 300 people signing up, giving us their data every day. And what that's amounted to is over 650,000 drivers that are in our network, 400,000 of them usable. And pretty much how it works, Malcolm, is we don't, I mean, this is a separate discussion, but it's an area where we think there's room to do business development down the future. Is we are creating a network of kind of gig economy, side hustle related people that there's different business development opportunities. But today, how we use that data is, you know, we have a salesperson in LA, and when he's pitching a law firm out in LA, they'll say, okay, you know, how many cars can we do in Chicago? How many cars can we do in LA or in San Diego, whatever market they want to do? And because we have such a large network of drivers, we can literally mobilize, you know, our mobile billboards, cars, anywhere in the country. You know, we have a network built of partner wrap shops around the country that do the fulfillment. They do the installation of the decals on the car. But you know, how all this data has benefited us, Malcolm, over the past 6 years is, you know, typically you'd have a cost of driver acquisition, right? Like if somebody wants to do a 100-car campaign in LA, you know, we would have to run our own mini ad campaign to recruit drivers.
Right.
But like us getting all this data residually, we rarely need to market to recruit drivers whenever we have a campaign, because we already have thousands and thousands of drivers who have signed up in these markets. So the power of data has just really reduced, one, our cost of goods sold, but two, we don't have to invest in assets. So like data is replacing our assets.
That's
major.
That's because even when I think about, you know, like for example, we started out like doing party promotion, right? And like, you know, like we used to do like radio ads, you know, we'd do flyers, and then once we really got into a point where we started collecting emails, and then when MySpace really like took off, like in that era, you know, we wound up getting like a lot of phone numbers. We were doing text messaging and things like that. So like we kind of went from doing radio to saying, hey, we got 400, 500 phone numbers. We have, you know, 3,000-4,000 followers. So we no longer needed radio. Then became obsolete because we owned those assets, and, you know, people being an asset. So I think that is very important when it comes to when you have any type of business, when you want to, you know, cut your costs. Maybe in the beginning, you might have to do advertisement, but as you know, gather that data, which is the new gold, you're able to, you know, kind of do more in-house. And I think, you know, that's something like I just want to always reiterate these nuggets that you're dropping, because we have a lot of, like, we have 24, almost close to 25,000 people in this group, and all of them, for the most part, are small business owners, large business owners, or entrepreneurs. And they're always asking us these type of questions in terms of like marketing and things like that. But that's something that I really want them to really pay attention to, because you know, a lot of them, you know, sometimes money get tight, and even with COVID, it's like, you know, we need to do marketing, but how can we maximize our dollars? And I think that's very important.
Yeah. It's interesting. And I keep talking about this. They need to pay me because of how I talk about it so much, right? But so I watched it. Did you watch The Social Dilemma, Matt?
No, I didn't. Dude, half of me is like afraid to watch it. I'm not gonna lie. I know that shit's happening. I'm one of those dudes like, oh shit.
So
go ahead.
Newdy was like, yo, Mal. And sometimes when Newdy got like a certain type of excitement, he got a certain type of excitement. I'm like, what, Newdy? Like what? So
yeah. Give us a little synopsis,
right? I'm like, all right, cool, bet that. Watch the documentary, and it's just crazy because data is just so crazy. And with you been able to do with Carvertise in your data, and I just think about, you know, we're on the Facebooks and the Googles and the Instagrams. I'm just like, yo, data literally is making people millions and millions and millions of dollars. And like literally, if you're in a position to develop a network within your network or within your company, you have access to gold. And I don't really think if people truly understand how important data is to scale up their business. Like in our group, Mac, like we talk about, there's like a digital divide, right? You know, when a lot of small businesses have been in a place where they weren't able to pivot, right? They weren't able to pivot because of COVID, or even prior to, they just didn't have a presence of mind to have like a digital presence, or just understanding digital media, right? How important do you think, as an entrepreneur in this space and time that we're living in, how important is it to have a digital presence, to understand your digital media, and how to optimize the data that you're getting on a daily basis from your customers or consumers, bro?
Yeah, I would split those two things up just slightly. The digital social media side from the data. I think the data, a lot of times, this is just my perspective, right, Malcolm, is I think, you know, from data you can extract insights, and then from insights you can take action on those insights. And I think you have to have enough data, enough relevant data, to be able to draw any type of meaningful insights. So when I think about certain types of businesses, like I forget, I was watching your guys' interview with John Hooper of the Goldie Beacom College. I think this was you, Newdy. You said that your photographer is also your barber, or your barber is your photographer or something. When I don't think that he needs to be on top of his P's and Q's with data. I don't think that it is going to have that type of impact for his business that I would think that it would for your guys' business, of who is paying attention to these streams, and is there any common demographic themes that you could take action on to help expand your audience, or give them certain content which is most pertinent to them. I think a lot of times the data really depends on the size of your business, the type of your business. But that being said, Malcolm, hands down, the way the pendulum swing is towards, like, you got to be paying attention to the data and what's happening. So I think more and more businesses are trending into the direction of data being more important to their business. As for social media, I mean, dude, find me the guy or the girl who's saying that social media is not important. And like, how can you even take that position anymore? Like, hello, like, it's about as real as it's more real than real life. Like,
yeah, literally.
So that shit's just it's here to stay. You know, it's a part of our lives. So, you know, if you have a business, you have to be active on social. You know, Malcolm, one of the things that you say a lot is like content. You got to be pushing out content, and man, that's the truth. That's the truth. And in order to do that, like, social gives you a mouthpiece to do that.
100%.
Agree. I do have a question for you, and I think that, you know, a lot of times, like how you said, you know, what gets glorified is a lot of these companies, they see the success, right? So success is like, you know, everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, and, you know, like Mike Tyson says, everybody wants to, you know, be a fighter until you get punched in the mouth, right? So can you tell us, like, what has been your biggest failure, and what did you learn from that failure?
Yeah, it's so funny, man. This is a topic that Greg and I talk about all the time. Greg is my business partner who's up in New York. Man, so to put things in perspective, you know, COVID has been a hard year for millions of businesses, right? And we were not immune to that. Trade shows disappeared overnight. Community colleges have been hurting. So, like, we had to pivot and figure out a game plan to stem losses and cut a new path very quickly. And so COVID could have been devastating, but we're rebounding really, really strong from April and May. But when we look back at this, Newdy, me and my business partner Greg, we laugh, because what we're going through now in navigating these waters is not nearly as difficult as what we went back what we went through in 2017, the end of 2017. Man, one of the biggest, and I'll tell you what happened in 2017. Dude, we just had a team that was not the right team to get where we were trying to go. Like, too many Urkels on the team, as Kanye West would say. And, like, dude, we were just getting, like, operationally, dude, we were really struggling to roll out campaigns.
Wow.
We had someone in production at the time, and dude, it was a nightmare. I was spending 30% of my time trying to just figure out what the hell is going on and why aren't we rolling cars on the road on time. We hired a salesperson who wasn't selling. He was just like goofing off on the internet. So dude, I'll tell you what, man, it's like the team just got, and you learn as you go, right? Like we just had a complete and utter lack of good hiring policies and figuring out who was the right player for the right job. Right. So 2017, dude, the freaking roof fell in, where like all in the span of 3 weeks, like shit hit the fan over here, shit hit the fan over there, shit hit the fan over here. And like Greg was damn near had a heart attack. It's so funny, dude. When he tells his story, like maybe I've just really become super callous, but like I don't remember like losing sleep or being nearly as stressed out as he was during that time. But we had a period in 2017 where the team just fell apart. We had a couple core players who hung in there, but everybody else, I mean, dude, I had one guy pull me aside. I had a guy pull me aside, Newdy. And this is just a buddy of mine, because we were working at the Hercules building at the time. We had like our office, not in 1313 Innovation, but we were like on the floor across the lobby. He's like, dude, I'm just letting you know, almost everybody on your team is quitting tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, huh? I'm like, yo, you want to like, nah, like, you want to tell me a little bit more about that? Or he's like, I can't tell you who I got this information from, but they're jumping ship. And I'm just like, so I call up Greg, like, yo, the scuttlebutt is, and dude, and now it wasn't nearly as dramatic as that, but we had, in 2017, I think the team was 10 people, and we had about 5 people drop off in the course of 2 or 3 weeks. A couple were fired or let go because of differences. A couple, it just wasn't working out, so they resigned. But yeah, man, 2017, and this is the shit like you can't make up, man. Like, and you go through these struggles, and like, but like, you just keep on marching. Like, you wake up the next day, you brush the dirt off your shoulder, like, you try to learn from what just happened, like never let a mistake or any type of hazardous situation go to waste. Like make the most out of it and learn from it. And that really was a nice big wake up call for us to like, okay, something's wrong with our hiring processes, because like we screwed up, not them. We screwed up if we had 5 people defect from the team in the course of 3 weeks. That's on us, nobody else but us. So we really revisited our hiring policies and how we were onboarding and recruiting talent to make sure that we were getting the right players on the team. I'll tell you, here we are 2.5 years later, and dude, it's night and day. Like, we are jiving. We are in a great, great culture. I mean, of course I'm going to be biased, but if you just hit any of our teammates up on Facebook or social media, low key, they would tell you they love working at Carvertise, and it's because we really fostered a culture of respect, of friendship, and of meaningful purpose. Like, we've got a plan. We're trying to get places. Like, who's on board? And we weren't doing it like that 2.5 years ago. So we had to fall on our face to pick ourselves back up and learn how to ride that bike a little bit better.
So two things that you said in that I wanted to make sure that our listeners take some information away from. You being the leader, right? And me and Newdy, we also run into we're the head of our own companies, and we get a lot of attention. Or not only are you running the company, but you also have to work the company as well. What are some of the things that you, in your position, what are some of the things that you go through, you know, as you lead the company and work in the company as well? Because when something goes wrong with your company or something happens, they don't go to the worker. They're like, yo, Mac, fuck is going on, bro? You know what I mean? And me and Newdy, we
yeah. At the end of the day, all responsibility, like, you know, at the end of the day, like, it's on you. You know, right. It's on you. Yeah. If people aren't working out, it's still on you. If a client, you know, left, it's still on you. I mean, like, at the end of the day, it falls on, you know, the leader of the organization.
Agree. You made another good point, and I think we, you know, like you drop some jewels, and I think that people they should definitely take heed. One thing about being a leader, and the one thing you said that when things were falling apart, you know, you took accountability, right? So what happens is when you take accountability to be able to fix it. A lot of times when people don't take accountability, they blame it on everyone else, and you're like, you know what? Well, it's because of this person or that person, and not knowing. Once you take accountability, you say, you know what? It's on us. How do we fix it? As opposed to some of them, like, yo, get rid of them and bring in more people. Then it's like, well, it's the same issue, right? And I think that's important is being an entrepreneur, business owner. You know, once you take accountability, you're able to then fix the issue. Then you keep blaming other people, and that's I think that's so important, and that's like people don't really see that as being like that. You know, that's a huge strength, and that's you know, leadership that comes with leadership.
And you know what I found too is, like, a lot of times, this is just from my experience, from what I've seen. A lot of times, like, you know, leaders or managers, they'll deflect, saying that the issue fell on them because it thinks they look weak. They think it makes them look weak. They think it makes them look inferior. But it's really the opposite, because when you can own a mistake and say, guys, that was on me. Here's what I learned from this. Here's how we're moving forward. I apologize. Here's how we're moving forward, though. I made that mistake. When you own it, like, the respect you get from your teammates shoots through the roof. Yep. So, like, just owning the mistake, a lot of people think they have to deny it and say it wasn't them. But, dude, that's what brings you down. Like, taking ownership of a mistake, saying what you would do differently next time around. I mean, that's what wins you respect from your team. And I think that's against conventional wisdom.
No, I agree. I agree.
100%. My thing is, you know, it's interesting, right? Because, you know, that accountability piece that Newdy was talking about, it's hard. It's even harder to have that accountability because you are the leader. You are at the top of your company, and sometimes you're not in a place where somebody would necessarily check you. I'm lucky because I got Newdy, right? Newdy will check the shit out of me with no issue, right? Like, you
you need somebody. You need somebody to do that, 100%. And you want to foster a culture. You want to foster a culture where it doesn't matter what your position is. Like, any employee could tell anybody in the company what they think, as long as it's done in the right way, as long as it's done with respect and not an ad hominem personal attack. You know, it's so healthy to challenge ideas, to challenge beliefs, to say that this was wrong, but defend your position and have good logic behind it, and don't draw a personal attack on it. But you want to build a culture where you are free to disagree and state your beliefs. Like, that's how you get to the best answer. I'll tell you, one of the books I just read is called Principles by Ray Dalio, who runs a large hedge fund called Bridgewater. And he has meticulously fostered thoughtful disagreement and radical transparency throughout his organization over the past 3 decades, where like he encourages arguments all the time, like, because he knows that that is done in the right way, of course, but he knows that that is how you get to the best truth, is through battling ideas out and seeing which one survives with people who care about making the right decision. So I think the fact that Newdy checks you on shit that he thinks should be done differently, or I'm sure vice versa from time to time, right? That is so healthy for any relationship, professional relationship, personal relationship too. Dude, I get dragged across the floor for my team all the time. If I say I'm going to do something and I don't follow through on it, they make sure I know, and that's a weakness of mine that I need to start showing up better. I'm similar to yourself, Malcolm, in that a lot of times I'm the idea guy, but sometimes when you got too many ideas flowing through your head, implementation can fall short. Execution suffers if you keep on having new ideas percolate in your mind. So that's an area that I'm trying to strengthen in my game. But my team is quick to remind me, if I fell short on an expectation that I said I'd come through with. And I appreciate it. I thank them every time that they tell me that I screwed up. I tell them thank you and I appreciate it. And they know I'm being sincere.
Right. Man, that the idea, the execution piece, yo, that's the hard part, yo.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
That's the real hard part. Man, Matt, yo, Carvertise. What's next on the horizon for Carvertise? Like, what's coming up? What you got going on? Like, what's happening? What's going on?
Tokyo 2025. We want to open up a Carvertise. We want to take Carvertise international, and it's going to be done one car at a time. So, right now we're bootstrapping the company. We're growing organically. We have sales in LA, Chicago, Dallas, Boston, and Philadelphia. But the goal over the course of time is to bring this form of outdoor advertising across the world, and we want to be the company to take it there. Mentally mapped in my mind is, dude, how are we getting to Tokyo? How are we getting to Tokyo? Like, that is my BHAG. That is my big, hairy, ambitious goal, is when are we taking Carvertise to Tokyo, Japan? Like, we're crossing that Pacific. So we're just going to keep on growing the company. We're going to keep on, refining things as we go, learning from our mistakes. But dude, we've got a great team. We've got great things in store, and we're shooting high, and that's what you got to do.
I have one last question for you before we. I know you got a couple minutes before we end out. Like, so what is one of them? What is the one common myth about your profession or your field that you want to debunk? Like what is something that people think or assume about Carvertise that you want to say, nah, that's totally not true. Even if it's just when people think about like the way you advertise on cars, like in general.
Yeah, I would say.
Is there any?
I would say one. I think Carvertise has a reputation of being a local Delaware company, which we are. We're very proud of it, right? Like, we are Delaware homegrown and raised, and we couldn't be any more proud, because it was the ecosystem here, Newdy and Malcolm, which did help raise me and Greg and Carvertise. I think there's still a conception that Carvertise is like a local play. But the reality is 80% of our revenue comes from outside the state of Delaware. So we run campaigns all across the country, and we were in 50 markets this year, from Chicago to San Diego to LA to San Fran to Seattle. So really, the business is not really, when you see cars on the road here, you know, that might be 5 to 10% of the cars on the road that we have across the country. So we really have, the team has pushed the company out nationally for some time. But I think a preconceived notion about Carvertise, from what it feels like, generally speaking, is they still think all of our campaigns are right here in Delaware and Philadelphia. But that's not the case. Only a minority of campaigns are now. The majority of our campaigns are out of market.
So, you've worked with Lyft and Uber. Are you actively working with them? Is that something that you can speak to?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we contract directly with the drivers there. So we do not work through Lyft or through Uber to get to their drivers. We speak to them independently of those organizations. So we have, Lyft is a client of ours. We know the executive team over at Uber. So there's warm relationships, and we know each other, but we don't work directly with each other. Like, we both work with the same drivers. And quite frankly, Malcolm, Uber and Lyft love us because we help increase their stickiness. Like, their biggest problem is driver churn, is a driver jumping on the platform, doing a couple rides, and then bouncing. Right. They want the drivers on there for as long as freaking possible. So when we come into the foray and we offer their drivers more money for being an Uber driver, it increases their driver retention. So we work in harmony together. We're very mutually symbiotic.
So what is, so say I'm a small company, right? Like what is the smallest company have you like that you guys have worked with in terms of, I don't know, like a small business or party promote, like any type of, like, what would be the smallest company that you guys ever have worked with? If Influencers Lab say, hey, you know, we want to get our company out there more, like, what can we expect as, like, what would that look, or have you worked with smaller companies?
Yeah, over time, and listen, we love small businesses.
Yeah.
What we've realized is it's tough to make the type of businesses we need to work with, Newdy, are those who have a consistent line item in their P&L for not just advertising and marketing, but out of home and radio. Right. Typically, those don't end up being small businesses because, you know, listen, if Influencer Labs ran a 5-car campaign for 3 months, you know, that might be $8,000 to $10,000. Right. You need to see a return on that money, right? Because, like, that's cash. But the reality is, Carvertise is a branding play. We're a long-term helping build brand equity in dominating market share. So you need to work with a company that can play that game. And most of the time, small businesses cannot play that game to that extent because they need to see a quicker return on their cash. So, and if that's the case, right, like, Google ads might work well, but shit, dude, like, I would say save your cash and just hustle like you guys are, and, like, just get out there and make it happen more. So small businesses, it's tough, man. Like, I would say, you know, the smaller deals, the smaller campaigns that we're running are anywhere between 15 to 20,000 for like a 3 to 5 month campaign of, say, 5 to 10 cars. But you got to be able to play the branding game, right? And typically those don't end up being small businesses.
No, that's really good to know, because I think sometimes here's what happens. People do it all the time. It looks good, right? But they don't think about the return on investment. So as they do certain things, it's like, well, I mean, I seen, you know, this company doing, it's kind of like, you know, like, a lot of times people aren't measuring, like, their KPIs. I think that's really important for people to know, and just even to understand, like, you know what, maybe let me start small first, and maybe that's not for me based on, you know, my short-term or long-term goals. So I think that was good. That was good to know. I think the listeners.
I think one way that your listeners could benefit, or, I mean, the lowest hanging fruit for small businesses, and you guys do a great job of this, is earned media, is press, is like a new business just opened up. Well, don't advertise, dude, get the press to cover that. Be resourceful. and find the loudest and most relevant microphone that costs you the least amount. And 9 times out of 10, if you're a small business, that's going to be the local media, and they're feeding that content to the audience that is going to be your future customer. So like in your shoes, and right, that's the audience that you serve. You're helping with that. Like that is, if you're a small business, that's totally the place to start.
I agree. I think people really don't, I don't think people really, and I still even think that we're at the beginning of it, right? Like when it comes to social media or just influential marketing, we've been doing influential marketing for years upon years and years, but now we actually have an actual coined term for it. I don't think people really understand the power of influential marketing, and I don't think that we leverage influential marketing. Just like you said, you find the loudest voice in the room, but you find it at the cheapest cost, right? I don't really think that people or small businesses really harness influential marketing or optimize it the way that we really can. I think what me and Newdy, we really do a good job at really finding these loud people in the room, and really like we amplify our message through these people. And I just think it, if more small businesses really understood that, it could be that scale up could be a lot faster, moving forward with their marketing or whatnot.
And I'm sure half your challenge, Malcolm, is just getting your clients to speak in the first place. Like the hardest step is just taking that first step, man. And it's like, if anybody ever asks me for marketing help, the first thing I do is look at their social media. Like, do they have a Facebook account? Do they have an Instagram? Are they putting out content? That's like step one. So man, the biggest thing is to just get started, take that first step. And I'm sure you're telling your clients that all day long.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's so interesting that you said that, right? It's like we could give anybody, I could tell anybody the whole strategy, do whatever. I could give them a whole strategy. Be like, okay, I'm not going to do this, Malcolm, you do it. Or Newdy, you do it. You know what I mean? So it's so interesting how certain things, work. So wait, before, I know we've been on here for a little bit of time. Newdy, Mac, let's get into this segment real quick. Newdy, what is the book that you got for the people, man?
So one of the books that I love, and I've been this is like my Bible in terms of marketing and being remarkable. It's Purple Cow by Seth Godin, right? This is my guy, man. I think that I have a lot of his books, like Permission Marketing. Geez, I have a couple other ones, but like this one right here is special because I think a lot of times when marketing for me is about like how do you gain attention, right? How do you garner attention? And one of the analogies that he had was, he said him and his wife was driving countryside, and they're passing like a lot of different like cows on the through their drive, and he says to his wife, wouldn't it be amazing like if you've seen a purple cow, right? Like you always see brown and black cows, and it's one of those things like, how do you create something that makes people want to talk about it? They want to share it, right? It's just like, it's so remarkable that I gotta pull out my phone and I gotta say, yo, Malcolm, bro, did you see this? Or, and I'm putting it on social media, and this is without, putting any ads out, and it's like, how do we be creative and be remarkable where we have people talk about our products and services? And I think that, that's really important in today's market, because there is so much noise every day. There's like, when we're marketing, we're not just competing with, if I'm in, like, we have a marketing company, we're competing for attention. There's like, on Instagram, like, we're not just competing with, we're competing with clothing brands, McDonald's, biotech companies, because everyone is trying to garner our attention, because our attention is the new, like, data and attention is the new gold, right? Who can get that attention and how can we garner that attention? I think that's very important. So Purple Cow is more so transforming your business by being remarkable and creating things that are going to stand the test of time. And I think that's very, Very important. So if anyone listening, all the listeners, Purple Cow will be a great book, and it's not, you know, it's a real easy read, and it's straight to the point. And it gives a lot of real world examples that you can use like almost immediately.
Mac, what you got? What you recommend for the people, bro?
And yeah, I'll second that too, Newdy. Man, Purple Cow is a hell of a great book. It's remarkably simple.
Yeah.
It's a simple concept, but dude, sometimes you need to hear the basics laid out in a clear way, and shit starts clicking. I mean, the whole premise of the Purple Cow is like creating something that spreads itself. Like the very nature of what it is markets itself. And as you're talking, man, I'm trying to think like what products. Before we hopped on this call, I'm telling you how, man, I got this new iPhone and the camera on this shit is so crazy. I can't stop taking pictures. That is a Purple Cow product because Apple is not paying for that promotion. I am naturally promoting it by just the very act of talking about it. And, you know, after I read that book, Purple Cow, dude, it did help me rethink our product. Give me a different perspective to look at our product. And I'm sure all business owners reading that book, it does help you put things in perspective of, is the product that I'm creating so remarkable that when I'm out of the room, people are going to be talking about it, where the very act of you doing it or creating it or markets itself.
Yes.
Like that is how you think about it. Like you need to think about if you can't check that box,
go back to
doing? If you can't check that box, you need to be the best at what you do. Yep. So your customers market it for you. And dude, I read that book about 6 months ago, dude, and like I've just really been ramping up our product, our deliverables to make sure that our customers, they're talking about us and helping spread us.
Yeah.
Any case, I mean, not to be too nerdy, but the book that I'm reading right now, let me see if I can I switch this camera? It doesn't matter. Words That Sell. I'm reading, dude, I freaking love this book. We're redoing our website right now, and it's like, I like this a couple years ago. I bought all these books on advertising just so I could study that game a little bit. So I bought Ogilvy on advertising. I bought a book on Leo Burnett, who's a big time ad agency guy. But I also really like copy, like what copy ends up grabbing people, like the psychology behind words.
Yes.
Is so interesting to me. Like David Ogilvy said, you know, a copywriter is just a salesperson behind a keyboard. Like they are selling you through words.
Yes.
So I've been reading this book recently, and it's not like a read. It's like, it will say, like, if you're trying to describe your service as powerful, it will give you the best phrases that are complementary or substitutes for the word powerful. So think about like almost a thesaurus that gives you synonyms, except it's made for marketing and advertising. So it's not just some kind of cliche. Like, dude, I spent $5 on this book, and I'm reading the thing.
I'm going to Amazon. I'm going to.
Yo, I bought this thing for like $5, and dude, as I'm recrafting our website with our designer, I'm like, thank God I bought this book. Like, this thing is freaking crazy good.
Yo, you know what's interesting? What's interesting, right? The ClickFunnels, right? I was studying ClickFunnels like, oh God, I was studying ClickFunnels like crazy, right? The copy is the most important part of the ClickFunnel, bro. Like, if the copy ain't right and the words within the copy's not right, your ClickFunnel you can't optimize the ClickFunnel, bro. So when Newdy ordered that book, I let him spend his money, and then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm
just gonna buy you a book too, bro.
Words That Sell. Words That Sell.
Yeah, I'm on it. I see. I'm on it right here.
Yeah, that's major, and it's interesting. It's interesting, and I just want to take Matt. You've been making so many good points, bro. Like, as you are still actively working and leading your company, you're still taking the time to learn and
hell yeah.
to make your company better, to push your company forward, bro. Like, I think what happens is that people get kind of like stuck in a rut, and it's like they don't put themselves in a position to learn the knowledge so that they can apply the knowledge to whatever it is that they're doing, bro. So kudos to you for actually showing that, like, yo, you're still reading and you're leading a company and you're working with other people, but you're still getting the knowledge in order to apply it to what it is that you're doing. And because you've done that, you can still scale your business up and your business is still moving forward, bro. That's powerful, bro. Very powerful.
Well, thank you. And I'll tell you one of the things that stuck with me when I first started Carvertise. I met with a guy who I got connected with through the Horn program in entrepreneurship. His name is Charlie Brogan. And he was about 70 years old, probably, Malcolm. And I remember meeting him at Panera Bread. This must have been 7 years ago. And he's there on his laptop learning how to speak Spanish. And I look at that and I'm like it struck in so much inspiration and hope in me, because here this man is, 70 years old, and he is actively applying himself to learn how to speak Spanish. And I made it a goal right there on the spot where I'm going to dedicate myself to lifelong learning. Like, I respect and admire that trait so much, of continuous self-improvement, of always learning, of always getting better, where I make sure I cut out the time. And the powerful visual that I always have in my head is Charlie Brogan, sitting at Panera Bread, learning how to speak Spanish, watching Rosetta Stone. When like he's 10 years into retirement and he's still trying to learn new things. And I think that's such an admirable trait to have. If you have a organic curiosity in life and what's around you, you want to hang close to people who also share that with you.
Right. That's the world is forever changing, and the person who stops learning, they'll fall behind, because once you learn this about marketing or whatever, the rules don't apply 5 years from now. Something always different, innovative. So that's learning. Is you can never stop learning, because we don't want to fall behind. So it's inevitable. If you don't learn, then the high earners are learners, man. So that's key.
So
I like that. Mac, the high earners are learners. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Where can they find you at? Where can they follow you? How can they get in touch with you or Carvertise, bro?
Yeah, they could. This is streaming through your Facebook.
Yeah, our personal Facebook and our page. Yep.
Yeah, so I think I'm tagged there. I have an Instagram. I put some skateboarding shit up there from time to time. Pictures of my girlfriends, occasional pictures of cars. So, if my life sounds at all interesting, I am on social media land. But yeah.
Newdy, where can they find you? Where can they follow you at, bro?
Newdy, Newdy 302 on Instagram, Newdy Felton on Facebook. I have 2 pages. Newdy runs the Newdy on my other Facebook page.
Newdy runs the
city. Newdy Felton. I keep telling, every time we get on this thing on Sunday, right? I keep telling people I'm going to be on TikTok. Give me a second. I'll be there in a minute. All right. Give me. I'm Malcolm. I'm gonna get there. I'm not quite there with TikTok yet. It's too many platforms for me. I can't keep up with all that shit.
I believe you. When you get there, we're gonna get it cracking.
Yeah, we're gonna celebrate.
Yeah, we're gonna get it cracking. But Malcolm, I am Malcolm Locks everywhere. I'm on every platform.
Literally. Look, you're still on Black Planet, man. You on every platform.
I wish I could go back to MySpace days, dog, because my MySpace was cracking, bro. I had all the sparklies. My top friends was popping.
You had the song. You had you had the Young Jeezy song. As soon as you came on page,
song started playing and all that. Yo, I still remember at Seton Hall, right? we didn't try to get, and this was coming right out of MySpace, because Facebook came in 2004, but MySpace was my high school years, right? So at Seton Hall, we had sidekicks. This is before iPhone and all that, right? We all had sidekicks, right? And I wasn't trying to get girls' numbers. I didn't want your phone number at Seton Hall. At Seton Hall, I wanted your instant
messenger.
I want your instant messenger from AIM, bro. So like, oh man, I sound like an old head out here in these streets, bro. But yeah, man, I still remember my AIM name. I still remember the password to sign in for AIM. Like, but yeah, AIM is dead and gone. But yeah, Malcolm Mox everywhere. I am on every single platform. And just to give you guys a little bit of information, whoever's watching this video, we've changed the name to the group. So this interview that we're doing with my guy Mac Macleod, CEO Carvertise, we are now spending Black Matters. We didn't even really get to talk about the election and what Joe Biden coming to Delaware. What does that mean to entrepreneurs? Man, we had a good conversation, y'all. We had a good conversation.
We did. We had a great conversation.
Yeah, so real quick, Matt.
Matt, if you got enough time, if not, we can save that for part 2.
Yeah, we might have to do a part 2.
I got a couple more minutes.
Couple minutes.
So real quick, Joe Biden's won, right, Matt? We're in the mix, so we know what's going on, right? What does that mean for entrepreneurship in Delaware now that Joe Biden is the president and he is from Delaware, bro?
In your opinion.
Yeah. And listen, I typically, you know, I tend to be pretty apolitical, even though I have my own beliefs. Right. But I think in this case, it is a-okay to just say that that sanity has returned, and like common sense has returned. Ethics has returned, good character has returned, truth has returned, science has returned. So I think, dude, it's just a bright day for the world, man. Like in Delaware, that is a shot to the arm right there. I think that I mean, he's going to put the branding for Delaware on a different level. And so what I think, the impact that I think this is going to have for entrepreneurs here in Delaware, nothing immediately, unless like you're a lobby consulting firm up in Greenville, that might have pretty instant repercussions. I don't think anything is going to happen overnight in Delaware from a economic or business development standpoint, just because Biden got elected. Right. I think it gives a relatively sleepy state a lot of energy, a lot of like hope of like, our Joe just became president of the U.S. Like, that's pretty freaking cool. Yeah. And like, you know, he's such a down to earth guy who's always roaming about, and to think that he just like overthrew the evil empire, like is phenomenal. Like, he's a champion. So dude, I'm stoked. I'm so stoked. I mean, just the energy is crazy. It's like half of it.
I've never seen a riverfront like that. Yeah, never seen a riverfront like that ever.
Yeah. Tourism is gonna go up.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be interesting to see. Honestly, it's going to be interesting to see how this affects local politics. If people start getting pulled out of positions to fulfill White House positions, it's going to create new opportunities here locally. I think that locally, you know, having a president here who lives here, I think Delaware will start to become more relevant politically nationally. So I think I see a lot of the ramifications being like political, less so economic for Delaware. But dude, I mean, it's just a hell of a day, man. It's just it's a historic moment.
Very.
Agree. Last night I was at the office. Our office is on the riverfront, and I never seen that. It had to be all of 2,000-3,000 people down there last night. All of 2,000-3,000 people down there last night, and I've never seen so many cars, so many people from like the license plates I was seeing. This one guy drove all the way from Canada down to Delaware today, and he came and parked. He came. You got to come up to our office. I'm pretty sure you've probably been there, but you got to come up there. But he came and parked in our lot from Ontario, Canada. As soon as he found out that Biden was going to be in Delaware, he drove all the way down with his wife. They parked in the lot and went and celebrated with.
Malcolm went out. It's safe to say that they celebrated with all 3,000 people.
Yeah. Mac, thank you.
Hey, my pleasure.
Matt, appreciate your time, man. I think that this was an awesome interview. A lot of great jewels, a lot of great insight. And you know, we definitely we want to connect with you out of this, man. You have a lot of great things going on, and you know, we're glad that you're homegrown. You know what I'm saying? That's something that we can tip my hat on to, you know, in terms of you know, people don't give Delaware enough respect. So I'm glad you said that you had to debunk. You're homegrown, but you're not local. You're international. You are looking to go
International Mac. That's your new nickname from me. International Mac.
There it is.
I'm changing my new IG handle after this. There
you go. International Mac. There you go. We gotta speak that into existence, bro. So Tokyo
absolutely.
International Mac. Let's get it, bro.
Let's get it. Malcolm Newdy, real pleasure, and a big fan of what you guys are doing for the city too. I think that we need everything that you're doing, man, is checking all the boxes for the city Wilmington needs to become. Young, hungry entrepreneurs trying to make it happen, trying to building a customer base, making it happen, providing real value to clients. So kudos to you guys, and just keep on doing your thing, man. I love seeing what you're doing.
Will do, Matt. Appreciate you, man. And let's do lunch soon, man, or you know, some drinks.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Let us know, man, for sure.
Matt, thank you, bro. We appreciate you, brother.
All right, Matt. Peace out.
All right,
man.
Malcolm. See you, Newdy.
Have a good night.